President's comments. Good evening, Washington Township. I hope everyone is enjoying the spring weather. I'll get through my part quickly as we have a lot to cover tonight. So first, tonight we're presenting the draft budget for the 2025-2026 school year. We'll get into the details more in a few minutes, but I wanted to thank Katie DeRizzo, Superintendent Lynn, for all their hard work thus far on the budget, as well as the Finance Committee and all who had input in the process. A lot of work goes into it, and although the work is not yet done, I just wanted to recognize everyone's time and attention to detail on the process. Next, I wanted to just mention that depending on the grade your children are in the school district, they may be receiving a Family Life Letter email, which focuses on the NJ Health and Phys Ed standards. The email should provide links to the materials to their applicable grades and includes a form if parents wish to opt out. I know this was a hot button issue in the past, not looking to resurrect any of that. I'm just simply mentioning it given the history of this topic in our district. And lastly, I wanted to thank everyone who came out to the HIB Parent Evening last Tuesday. Stacy Cherry from Fogarty and Hara, wanted to thank her as well for her time coming out to educate us all on the topic. We also had many parents, district administrators, staff, Superintendent Lynn, and also saw board members Melanie Bratton and Lindsay Succi there, so thank you very much for coming out. And just repeating towards the end of that meeting, Superintendent Lynn said that we plan to expand on Parent Night events such as that one, potentially adding a virtual option as well. So it's just something that the district is going to try to do more of in the future. And that concludes my comments, and I'll turn it over to Superintendent.
I apologize. Thank you, everyone. Good evening. I'm going to be reporting on HIB. In accordance with New Jersey's Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act, the results of HIB-related investigations, as conducted by designated school personnel, will be reported to the Board of Education no later than the date of the regularly scheduled Board of Education meeting following the completion of an investigation. Our district totals for this reporting period is 9 unfounded and 4 founded. Per school, we have Benedict A. Cuccinella School has 0 reports. Blocktown Cosman School had 2. Old Farmers Road School had 2. Long Valley Middle School had 9. Per building, Benedict A. Cuccinella, 0 unfounded reports and 0 founded. Blocktown Cosman School had 2 reports, 2 unfounded, 0 founded. Old Farmers Road School had 2 reports, of 1 was unfounded and 1 was founded. Long Valley Middle School, 9 reports, 6 were unfounded and 3 were founded. And that concludes my HIB report for this period.
Okay, next we have the presentation on the 2025-2026 budget.
Okay, now this one's working. Because that one's
All right, good evening, everyone. This is our 2025-2026 tentative school budget. Katie and I will be presenting. There will be more elaborate one coming up in April, but this is our tentative, so we'll start with you.
As Antonella said, this is our 25-26 tentative budget presentation. I just wanted to take a moment to thank our superintendent, Antonella, for her support during this budget process. She jumped right into the process with me, and we were able to create a budget together that is financially sound and aligns with our district goals for the current time period and the future. And I would also like to thank Stephanie over there, our assistant business administrator. She's a tremendous help to me during this budget process, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without her. I just want to walk everyone through our school budget timeline. Governor Murphy gives his state budget address in February 25th, And then 48 hours later, the DOE releases state aid notifications to the schools. And then from that point, we have to finalize the budget for this meeting tonight, March 11th. And then by Tuesday, March 18th, I'm going to submit the budget to the county office. And then in between the time period of March 18th and April 29th, which is our public budget hearing, that's when the county can give feedback or make any changes, and they have that time period to give us any feedback.
Okay. And for the upcoming school year, our tentative budget details are as follows. Highlighting some investments will be that we will have a new English language arts program and phonics program in grades K-1. We will continue with professional development for our Eureka Mathematic program for grades K-5. We plan for an integrated preschool program at Cosman Elementary School. We have another class coming there. Curriculum writing and program development for STEAM, K-5, and World Language, K-8. Continued also with updates for our mathematics curriculum as well. New Chromebooks will be for grades 1 through 5 for all the students, and this will be financed through a lease. And then we also have our 2 SROs and 1 Class 3 officer in there as well. Just to elaborate before we get to this slide, I did want to mention that during the next meeting that we will have, there will be a more detailed, as I said earlier, presentation where we will have the Director of Special Education here, Director of Curriculum Instruction, and the Technology Coordinator, along with myself and Katie, to really highlight this school year's achievements and then continue to elaborate even further into our future planning. So that's up and coming as well.
And then I just wanted to discuss some of the budget challenges that our district and other school districts face when creating the budget. So the first one is the statutory limit of the 2% increase on the tax levy. With our health benefit adjustment and the bank cap that we were able to use, we were able to go over the 2% for this year and last year. So this year will be a 2.95% increase. But if we didn't have those allowable adjustments by the DOE, we would not be allowed to go over 2%. We also had this year an additional reduction of state aid for 25-26. That was 3% cut. We were notified about a week before the governor's address that we might get a 3% cut on state aid, and we did. So I just want to provide an example here, just showing the limitations of the 2%. If the tax levy grows by 2%, which is $788,000, and if payroll grows by our contractually obligated 3.4% on average, that's $943,670. And if our health benefits grow by 10%, which is $477,327, just the increase of those two lines alone are greater than the revenue increase from taking 2% of the tax levy. Other challenges that we face are priorities supporting the new curriculum program, special education costs, facilities, and then safety and security costs.
So in planning ahead for the 2025-2026 budgeting planning piece, we have that we are restructuring our staff positions to promote internal talent and growth, maximizing district-wide scheduling, and I commend our leadership team on this piece because we are working all diligently together. Continued personnel review, staffing will be based on further analysis of the projected enrollment, district-wide needs, supports, and district programming. Planning to not fill 2 full-time equivalent positions due to retirements, and planned reduction in force for 2.2 full-time equivalent positions as well, and additional non-certificated support staff. However, with that being said, we plan to maintain optimal learning environment so that we are not increasing these class sizes, and special education services or supports will continue to remain strong. The district goals, which I will review now, do sunset this spring, so I will be working on new ones for us. However, I still want to review the district goals that we currently have. From the fall of 2022 to the spring of 2025, this particular goal is under curriculum instruction and assessment as our first goal for student growth and achievement. Washington Township Schools will populate and maintain our Linkit data warehousing platform, with data generated from optimized universal screening protocols to target instructional resources within our district-wide multi-tiered systems of support with a focus on early childhood development, and will expand co-teaching models based on a stakeholder analysis evaluating current student needs and staff skill sets as well. So this really hones in, I'm sorry, I just want to elaborate a little bit because it's a lot. It hones in on Linkit, it hones in on our data and what we do with that as well, and then making sure that, you know, we really are promoting our co-teaching modeling and things that will best support our students and the staff as well. The second district goal is on professional development. Washington Township Schools will provide teachers and staff expanded job-embedded professional development and support connected to students' success. Our third district goal is communication and public relations. During the 24-25 school year, Washington Township Schools will develop a formal district-wide communication plan to inform and engage our parents and school community. And the district goal number 4 is facilities, finance, investment, and security. From fall of 2022 to this spring, Washington Township Schools will strategically allocate resources to adjust for projected state and aid reductions to support the district goals while building financial reserves, provide for new security initiatives and investments, and use the referendum funds for investments in our schools that are driven by the design of the curriculum. Okay. With this one, we have our current student enrollment and then our projected student enrollment for the upcoming school year. Here, I'm just gonna pause and allow you to all review this. The focus here consistently is maintaining appropriate class sizes to ensure instruction is sound. Okay, and we're going to move on to the next slide in which Katie will discuss state aid history.
So I'm just going to show 2 slides, 2 different ways of showing our state aid history. This first slide represents our state aid over the past 10 years. You can see that in the 2016-17 school year, we started out with over $8 million in state aid, and for this current budget that we're presenting tonight for 25-26, we're at just a little bit over $3.6 million. You can see it's kind of small, but you can see the decrease from last year to this year, we received a decrease of 112. And then this next slide shows our cumulative loss of state aid. So the total amount of aid that we lost from 2017 to this next school year is $4.4 million, with our biggest decrease being in the 21-22 school year. And then if we take a look at our current budget compared to our proposed budget for 25-26, so our current budget for 24-25 is $47,576,064, and our proposed budget for next year is $49,348,570. The proposed budget is a $1.7 million increase from the current year, which is about 3.7%, and that, as I said before, reflects a tax levy increase of 2.9%, which is an average of for $196 on the median assessed home of $442,633, which was provided to me by the township tax assessor. This budget includes a $346,942 adjustment for health benefit costs and the utilization of bank cap at $63,000 as provided, as allowable by the New Jersey State Department of Education.
And that concludes. I do want to thank again the Finance Committee, the entire Board of Education, and the leadership team here. Were really crucial in helping us with this preliminary budget and our presentation. And again, a very special thank you to Katie and Stephanie for their professionalism, their dedication, and overall the time that went into this. So thank you again.
Thank you very much. I know we all probably received it and probably would have addressed any questions, but does anybody have any comments on the budget yet? All right. Moving on to correspondence. This month we have received correspondence from K. Karajat, J and V Ricka, W and J Campbell, and G Moss. And moving on to committee reports, can we have a committee report from education?
Sure. Education Committee met Friday, February 21st at 11 a.m. In attendance was myself, Ms. Lind, Melanie Bratton, and Rob Waskus. First, the committee discussed the idea of providing a parent resource email prior to the NJSLA testing with optional links for those families that would like some extra practice before testing begins. Mrs. Lind also shared that the committee could also review options for putting together a parent university night to support that initiative. Next, the committee discussed a mid-year update for the new Eureka Math program. Mrs. Lind shared that 3 of the 4 professional development days have been completed district-wide. A courtesy session with Megan Burris is set for April 9th. Data will be collected to monitor progress to determine the success of implementation and plan strategic next steps. Surveys continue to be completed and reviewed, all indicating positive feedback on growth and confidence levels. As for special education updates, we were excited to hear that the LVMS school store has officially opened and is running smoothly. Assembly options for April were set to be reviewed by administrators. The committee also discussed the intelligent vote, which is the process we use as board members to ensure confidentiality as we prepare for the May personnel approval. Lastly, Mrs. Lind shared her thoughts on providing more opportunities for students to take part in student committees, leadership, and mentorships. The idea will be brought to the leadership team to brainstorm ideas and come up with plans to effectively implement those ideas in the future.
Thank you. Moving on to finance and facilities.
Finance and Facilities met twice this month. First, Monday, March 3rd. In attendance were Jess, Lindsay, Mike, Antonella, Katie, Stephanie, and myself. We began by, again, discussing our attempt to bring a Class 3 into the district. We are still collaborating with the Washington Township Police Department on finding a candidate that can fill the agreed-upon position description. Unfortunately, no additional updates at this time. We then pivoted to discussing capital improvement projects, starting with referendum updates. The bid for the music accessory space was opened on the 7th and will hopefully be awarded at next month's meeting in April. The bids for LVMS and Flocktown Cosman parking lots will be opened on the 8th of April and will likely be awarded at the following meeting in May. The district sent out a referendum update to the community last week with details on the completed and ongoing projects of the referendum. And as a final note, in aggregate, the referendum projects as a whole remain under budget, which is good news. Also, in capital improvement projects, we discussed the long-range facilities plan and the list of projects we received from the architect, adding a couple to be added to the LRFP when it gets uploaded into the state system by our architect. Then we discussed maintenance costs for the district. We reviewed HVAC, plumbing, and roofing costs for 23-24 and 24-25 school years district-wide, and discussed potential options for reducing those costs in future years. And then finally, at that meeting, we discussed the 25-26 budget, as well as the budget presentation that Antonella and Katie just went over. And our second meeting of the month was Monday, March 7th, where we discussed an updated slide for tonight's budget.
Thank you. Moving on to the Personnel Committee.
Personnel met February 26th. In attendance were myself, Mike Catano, John Holly, Jennifer Ryan, and Lind. Topics discussed were intelligent vote preparation prior to May. We will review and include this in all committee meetings in order to be best prepared for our May meeting. Board and superintendent relations, support, and review. We reviewed Mrs. Lind's first 2 months in district thus far, actively working together, supportive through district initiatives, upcoming budget and CUSAC deadlines, all communications and future non-negotiable goals for this school year into the summer. District organization planning. We reviewed the importance of a district organizational plan, especially to review the new board members, communication through the district's organization via the appropriate chain of command, and any areas for future improvement. Class 3 officers, we are collaborating with the Chief Almer. No additional updates at this time. Lastly, communication, review of district communication, especially via email at times, areas for positive improvements.
Thank you. And then lastly, communications and governance.
Hello. Governance met on Friday, March 7th at 1. In attendance was myself, Melanie, Jess, Isabel, and Antonella. The topics we discussed, we started off by discussing the need for a new policy, specifically private signage. We're going to review this. We actually did receive guidance from our attorneys and a draft policy. Initially, it looks acceptable, so we're going to circulate it to the rest of the board. Gym changing policy procedures. Mrs. Lind is working with Mr. Polito and our LVMS physical education teachers to review procedures and organize further prior to the start of the new school year. District scheduling, policy and procedures and timelines. Currently, our master schedules are under review, and the entire leadership team is working together. The NJSBA policy update from Ms. Cherry. We're going to review as a board the next steps we can take with regard to NJSBA and our policies and the overall consulting services that we've employed. Governance calendar. Ms. DeSico reviewed this. She drafted a nice draft of a governance calendar. She further reviewed it with us, and we decided that we're going to work together to start the next steps, fill in some of the gaps that she had, and complete the calendar. The communication review, we reviewed our platforms just district-wide, including apps, and Mrs. Lind will work with Ms. Gatley on our district-wide communication platforms, apps, and more. HIB review, we're going to discuss our policy further. We did discuss our policies and the current procedures, and we're going to further discuss that in the future. Budget presentation update, there was a review of our preliminary budget presentation. That's it.
Thank you very much. Moving on to public comment on agenda items. If anyone has public comment on agenda items, please approach the microphone, state your name, address, and you'll have 3 minutes to provide any comment. All right, moving on to approval of minutes. I guess really quick, does anybody have an objection if I just consolidate the 11th and then I'll do another one on the 25th? Was there anybody not here? So I don't have to read 4? Okay. So I'm going to make a motion to approve the February 11th regular meeting and executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. And then moving on to the next one, making a motion to approve the February 25th regular meeting and executive session meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? Okay. Moving on to the agenda items. Can I have somebody move education?
Education would like to make a motion to move items number 1 through 4.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Vieira?
Yes.
Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Oldmixon?
Yes. Next, can I have somebody please move finance?
Finance would like to move item number 5 on tonight's agenda, a motion to accept with gratitude the following contributions. $250 from Renetco Supermarkets to be used at LVMS for the music program, $1,000 from the Long Valley Junior Women's Club to be used at LVMS for 8th grade end-of-year activities, installation of new asphalt basketball court at the Flocktown Cosman School funded by the following contributions. The Musconetcong Valley Community Association, the MVCA, $50,000. Westmore Central Memorial 5K Turkey Trot, $5,000. And Harrington Construction, $5,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
And any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olson?
Yes.
Finance would like to move items number 6 through 14 on tonight's agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes.
And finally, Finance would like to move item number 15 on tonight's agenda.
Oh, second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton? Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. Can somebody please move personnel?
Personnel, I'd like to make a motion to accept with regret the following retirements. Karen Cross, teacher at Cuccinella School, effective July 1st, 2025, after 16 years of service in the district. Louise Quinn, speech and language specialist, Flocktown Cosman School, effective July 1st, 2025, after 24 years of service in the district. Motion to accept with regret the following resignations. Sarah Iannaco, teacher, Old Farmers Road School, effective June 30th, 2025. And Lynn Mankowski, school secretary, Long Valley Middle School, effective April 26th, 2025.
Thanks. And I think we also have a hand
Yes,
carry for
sorry.
16C as well.
My apologies. Motion to accept with regret the following retirement as well. Irene May, speech and language specialist, Flocktown Cosman School, effective July 1st, 2025, after 25 years of service.
Thank you. And do we have a second? Any discussion on these? I just would like to just express my gratitude. You know, we have a 16, a 24, and a 25 year, so it's a long time in the district, and I just wanted to say thanks and appreciate all their time with us. So if there's no other discussion, move on to roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion to move items number 18 through 27.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton? Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. And for next one is under policy. Can I make a motion? I'd like to make a motion to read for the second time and approve the policies under agenda item number 28.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
Yes.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
Yes.
Mrs. Fucci?
Yes.
Mr. Wassinger?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton?
Yes.
Mr. Holly?
Yes.
Mr. Olmixon?
Yes. Moving on to unfinished business. Does anybody have any unfinished business?
Yes. I'd like to make a resolution. Be it resolved that the Washington Township Board of Education, hereinafter referred to as the Board, hereby modifies the HIB determination in HIB case number 202-50211, which was the subject of an appeal hearing before the Board on March 11th, 2025, and authorizes the notification of the Board's decision to the affected students' parents.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Mrs. Ryan?
No.
Mr. Catano? Mrs. Viera?
No.
Mrs. Succi?
Yes.
Mr. Waskis?
Yes.
Mrs. Bratton? No. Mr. Holly?
No.
Mr. Oldmixon?
No. Is there any other unfinished business? Actually, I'll bring up one thing. I had mentioned at the last board meeting, we had talked about the Kings Highway project. I had stated that I would attend the committee meeting at the township level. I did go there, didn't represent the board, just asked a question really as a parent in the district as well, but also did just kind of point out the fact that, we've always had a cohesive relationship and we just would like to make that continue. We do still have a good relationship with the township committee. Ironically, there was actually a rumor that went around that I had been disruptive and was threatening people at this meeting, which I don't know where that started, but I just wanted to assure everybody that that was not me at the meetings. It was actually somebody else that got a little out of line, but I just, in case anybody did hear that, I just wanted to confirm that that was not me. And I don't know the status of the project currently. I think they're having another township meeting a week from tonight. I'm not sure if it's going to be on the agenda, but we'll let the township committee, handle that. So I just wanted to let everybody have an update on that. Moving on to new business. Is there any new business? For new business, so we had mentioned, Jen had brought up possibly and bringing up a new policy in governance about signage. So I don't know, we did receive a draft policy from Steve Fogarty. I saw it earlier in the week. I don't have it in front of me at the moment, but I think, I don't know if there's any tweaks or anything like that that needs to be made. I assume in governance, if you guys want to see that through and possibly send that around to the board, and if there's any modifications to it or anything like that, but we can put it on the agenda item next month if everybody wants to do that. So, is there anybody that wants to discuss that, or?
So I have to see it before we discuss it.
I just mean the process.
That is the process.
Okay. Just thought I'd open it if anybody wanted to chime in. Anyway, moving on to public comment. If anybody has any public comment, please approach the microphone and state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. Okay. Moving on to district distinctions. There was a lot this month, so I'll do my best to consolidate, and apologies if I may have left anything out. Under curriculum news, the cognitive abilities test was recently administered to our second grade students. This test is administered to assess students' reasoning abilities in 3 main areas: verbal, quantitative, and nonverbal reasoning. It provides valuable insights into children's cognitive abilities. And by May, those grade 2 families will receive a profile of their performance. Many may have seen the One School, One Book initiative that officially kicked off on March 7th to celebrate Read Across America Week. There's a link on our homepage that details this initiative and discusses the book A Boy Called That by Elena K. Arnold. On the website, you can see the district letter, calendar of assignments, audio chapters, photos, and activities. You can also upload pictures of your family reading at home on this site and see pictures of our staff, including some of them that are dressed up as the skunk costume. Special education news: our district's special education programs continue to be highly regarded throughout Morris County, reflecting our commitment to providing high-quality, inclusive services that meet the diverse needs of our students. Currently, we have 3 out-of-district students whose home districts pay tuition for them to attend our programs, a testament to the reputation of our staff, programming, and supportive learning environments. The Washington Township Schools Special Services Department is recognized for its collaborative approach in meeting the needs of all learners. At Cuccinella, 3rd grade students presented World Cultures Day on Thursday, March 6th. Prior to the event, each student researched a country and created a poster board that showcased their learning. The day of, family members attended a guided tour around the world, traveling to each of the 3rd grade classes to see students' great work. Cuccinella students and staff were delighted by the attendance of 5 therapy dogs at the indoor recess on Friday, February 21st. This fun event was sponsored by the Long Valley Junior Women's Club in partnership with the Seeing Eye Puppy Raising Program and Bright and Beautiful Therapy Dogs. At Flocktown, it's proud to announce that we had 3 students win awards at the state level of the PTA Reflections competition. Congratulations to Amelia G. and Victoria A., who received state-level honorable mentions, and Felicity G., who will now compete at the national level in 3 categories at the primary level: dance, music, and photography. She also received an award of merit in the literature category. Delana Higgins, currently a junior at Westmore Central and a graduate of Flocktown Cosman, was recently crowned Miss South Jersey's Teen. Part of her responsibility is to give back to the community. Her social impact initiative is working with students with disabilities and having open conversations about bullying and its impact on students. We were thrilled to have Delaney give back to their community by coming to read and discuss bullying with all of our students this past week. At Old Farmers, to make the One Book, One School kickoff a big reveal extra special, each grade level received a mystery bag filled with clues about the book's theme, characters, plot, and setting. Students worked together to make predictions. An all-school video was played to reveal the new book. As we reflect on the Read Across America Week, we also want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our school librarian, Mrs. Kerpez, staff, and all the wonderful visitors who made this event truly special for our students. Their presence and participation brought immense joy and fostered a love for reading among our young learners. A special thank you goes to Ms. Ort, our dedicated local librarian, whose efforts in promoting literacy continued to build community. We are grateful to Long Valley Junior Women's Club for sponsoring the Therapy Dog program this week. The dog handlers and their therapy dogs not only provided comfort and joy, but also created a unique environment where students would engage with the service dogs during their special classes, allowing them to play, read, and create together. And lastly, at LVMS, during the Read Across America Week, LVMS students visited all the elementary schools to read with K through 5 students. Thank you to the NJHS advisor, Mrs. Smith, and the NJHS member for coordinating with our elementary colleagues to give all of our students this experience. Friday, March 14th will be the annual student versus staff basketball game held after school at LVMS. Tickets will be sold all week during and all student lunch periods. This is the NJHS's annual fundraiser where all proceeds will be donated to the American Heart Association. And then that concludes everything tonight. Before we adjourn the meeting, the board has to go back into an executive session. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to go back into executive session to discuss a legal matter.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No action will be taken, and we'll be in exec session for approximately 30 minutes. Just to give everybody the warning, the next thing on the agenda item is the adjournment, so good night.
Bye.